Hi beautiful people, hi my lovies, welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, if you're new here, I hope you like what you see and you decide to stay. I hope you've been good, I hope you've been well. Welcome to another video. This one was not planned, but let me tell you, I just recorded 11 minutes, okay, and I messed up. I started laughing and I couldn't stop, and so I had to start again. So hopefully it goes right this time. The time is, hey, let me remove the notifications. Yeah, 12:30 midnight on the 8th of December, Friday 2023, and I was just like moved to tell this story because I feel like there's no great time to tell it. And also because in the get to know me video I talked about how I will make a separate video because somebody asked me for study tips and skills and stuff like that. So this is the separate video. I hope you are cozy and you enjoy. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do a brief summary of the 11 minutes that I just did. So annoying. Anyway, I was talking about how like I've always been a bright kid or brilliant kid or gifted is what they'll call me, I guess. Yeah, so from reception all the way, like the whole of primary school, just generally, right, I was on the, if you had to make a list, I would be on the list of the gifted or the bright students or the smart students, you know. So like I let me give an example. Like for example, in reception is like, yeah, in creche, right? I always used to understand things. So basically, like for me to understand, you just need to explain to me. If you explain to me and I understand, then I'm good to go. Then my job is just to remember. But once I understand, like things start to flow easily and they make sense. So things used to just make sense. And I'm saying this because I remember we had to do for our graduation for reception, from reception to standard 1. I went to a school in Melbourne called Al-Haq preschool, then I'll have primary school. We had to do a play for graduation, but obviously there's many students and not everybody can do the play, so I guess our teachers wanted to filter us, and so only the ones who could do would do the play. So I was good at that and I was part of the play. It was good, it was nice, sharp. And then yeah, and then I moved to standard 1, and standard 1, 2, 3, the first 3 years of primary school, I was amazing, I was brilliant. I still, like I said, understood everything. It was nice, it was easy for me, it was like simple fixture, you know. I'm saying this also because I remember long time back, like long ages ago, I came across my report cards from my primary school back in Mulapulele, and so you used to have, like, for standard 1 you'd have a book, standard 2 a book, standard 3 a book. So it was a report book instead of just a card black or paper, and they'll do like term 1 on one page, term 2 on the other page, term 3 on the other page. Sorry for the noise, I actually just don't know what's going on today, but I think it's an airplane. Anyway, but yeah, so I came across them and I just saw like what I used to do, and it was just always 100, never less than 100, which is, I mean, it's standard 1, it's simple, but like not really at that age. Like when you're in standard 1, you don't think this is easy. So yeah, so I used to get hundreds all the time, and then things kind of changed in standard 4. You know, I was a playful kid generally. Even in the comments on that report book were always just saying, Kesawa is so playful, Kesawa is so playful, Kesawa is so playful, Kesawa is so playful, all the time. But but I've always liked Majita. Like I've always liked friends, I always liked to play, and even now I think I still have that thing, like I love my friends. So that was not relevant. So standard 4, another girl came to my school, and she came to my class, and then she did better than me, like, and that year for prize giving I didn't get anything, and I was like, what? and not even like what happened. I was just like, because I never used to study. Like I'll go home and also just go and play. So to me it was just a normal thing for me to be called at prize giving. Guess the whole and I'd go up and get my prize. So that year, like nothing. I mean not even one. I was like, huh? But then again at the end of that year we moved to Gibbs. So a part of me was happy that I'm moving to Gibbs because I've never liked like competition. I hate competition with all my heart. So I was just like, okay, I'm moving at least. And I don't know. Guys. I get to Gibbs. I go to Motswana Adventist Primary School, Maths, and yeah, smart kids, man. But yeah, I still do good. I still do great. I was doing well. I was just not getting 100, and I was just not being number one in the class. But I was doing well, and I was okay with that. I think also, yeah, I was really fine. But I would still get stuff at prize giving. I remember in standard 6, I really don't remember much of standard 5. I don't even think there was a prize giving in standard 5. I'm not too sure about that, but in standard 6 I remember I got like position 3 in my class. Also full circle moment, my position 2 in that class was Penyo, and then position 1 was Beto. Guys, guess what? Penyo goes to my university here in Australia, and I was so, when I saw him I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But anyway, that's unrelated to what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I moved to standard 6, I got that prize, and then I moved schools in standard 6. I went to a government school in standard 7, and when I got there, also before we even get there, like there's a stereotype that like just people have. It's so weird. Look, for me, people are always like, I was so shocked that why is the lighting changing? What just happened? Interesting. Anyway, what? I'm so confused. Sorry. Okay, we're back. As I was saying, standard 7. Okay, I was talking about the stereotype. People just always used to look at me and think I'm stupid or dumb or whatever. Because I remember very well when I got to my new school in standard 7, I hadn't been there for the first 2 days, so I think I came on the 3rd day, and they had been taught for the first 2 days. So on the 3rd day when I arrived, we did a test, and it was for science specifically. I remember this, and oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, and then I didn't do great, but I did okay. I got a 47 out of 60, and I remember my teacher was saying that if you have less than 48 out of 60, you're being beaten. And mind you, this is the first time I'm coming across corporal punishment away from home, because like when I was a kid, my mom used to beat me because I was naughty, but now I'm being beaten in school. That was a new concept to me. But yeah, so I'm just saying, like, I used to be able to, some things used to be common sense to me. Yeah, I just used to understand. So I didn't do horribly, but yeah, I got there standard 7. I was a bright kid. I did well. For my PSLE, I got an A, and that but I got an A. I had 3 B's. I had a B in Motswana, I had a B in social studies, and a B in agriculture. Agriculture because it was structured, guys. Like, I hate reading, so I never used to read. I just listen in class and hope to remember when the test comes. I just do my homework. I think my homework is what helped me remember. But with agriculture, we didn't have much homework, and so the only time I come across having to answer questions is in the exam. And if it's structured, it requires you to actually know. But I used to just do elimination. Multiple choice is easy because it was elimination, right? Yeah, so I got a B for agriculture because of that reason. And then Motswana, my teacher was Kalanga. He never used to teach us Motswana. He was like, he cannot be bothered because he doesn't know. So I mean, and a Motswana teacher would come in here and there sometimes, but not much. So yeah, most of this stuff was just about remembering what I was taught in standard 6 and 5. and just trying to do my best. And then I hate social studies, and like I just don't like social studies, so because also it's just too much information that I'm not interested in, and I had to study and I didn't like it, so I just got a B. And you know, the irony in that is my mother is a social studies teacher, and whenever I tell her, you know, I hate social studies, she's always like, how can you hate a subject that is putting food on your table? What? I'm like, no guys, I can't. Anyway, that was PSLE. I went to my Form 1. Form 1 was like when I went to a school with a lot of students, and what I mean by that is at maps, before I went standard 5 and 6 at maps, we had, even in our hug, we had 2 classes per grade, so 1A 1B, right? Maps, some classes would be 3, but it was, for me, it was 5 east 5 west, 6 east 6 west, right? So obviously if in each class is like less than 30, maybe 25 students, then we're not a lot overall in the grade. But now in Form 1, PSLE, we also were many because there were 4 classes and would be around 36, 35 in each class. But like now in Form 1, it's different. It's like 40 students and 6 classes per grade, so that was a lot of students. And even with that many students, I would do well. Like I would be in the top 10, I'd be in the top 5, you know. Yeah, so studying was not really my cup of tea. I'll do my homework. I used to I tried to study, but I've just never known how to do it. But yeah, I'd do well. Form 2 was hard, okay? And I'm saying this comparing it to Form 1 and Form 3. Form 2 was the difficult year in junior school. If you know, you know. Like Form 2 is when things start to get real. You're just seeing these papers you've never seen before. So it's on a paper 2 and you're like, whoa, what's going on? Because I think ours was introduced pretty late in Form 2. So yeah, Form 2 was a bit difficult. I think I remember in Form 1, if my memory serves me right, Form 1 there was prize giving, and I got I got 2 prizes actually. I got a best in English in my grade and best in French. So you know, like even back in maths, standard 6, I'd get prizes. I think I talked about that, right? Anyway, yes, like, so all my life I'd do prize giving except in standard 4, and then in standard 7 there was no prize giving. I don't remember ever being prize giving when I was in Mopan. And then Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 came. So let me give you a picture of Form 3. I'm in the top 3 of my school. I think they're okay with me talking about them here. It's Shanti, it's okay. I haven't asked them, but I don't think they'd mind. It's Shanti, it's okay, then it's me, right? And now, remember in not PSLE, but the year before that, in standard 6, it was Betsu Penyo, then me. So I was always used to being the third. Like it was always 2 boys above me and the third girl. In Form 3, yes. So now in Form 3 it was difficult because now it's getting real, right? And I remember I have to, we're writing exams very soon, but before exams obviously it's mocks, and I wasn't doing well, so I'm being number 3 like this, but with a B. That's how bad like it was. So there'd be 2 A's in the school, and then the B's start, and then the C's and whatever, and I was the 3rd in the school, but in our grade, but with a B. Like I remember I used to always get 53 points max. If you remember the point system in junior school, an A would start at 55 points and the maximum would be at 63. So I'd always get 53 points. I tried 53 points. Why? Because I always got a C in Motswana, C in English all the time, consistently, without fail. C in Motswana, C in English, and then everything else would be B's and A's, right? And like that used to frustrate me because like I tried, guys, Motswana was so hard. Oh my goodness. With English that we just didn't know what to do, but with Motswana it was just hard. And then what happened is, I remember in Form 3 we had a new HOD. I used to be part of this house at Tloga. So I went to Tloga Junior Secondary School, and I used to be part of this house called Diamond. And I think maybe, I don't remember what happened to a previous HOD. Like, I think they transferred or something, or they got a promotion, and then we had a new HOD. Now, this new HOD, guys, she used to always be on my case. And actually, it's something that I've always wanted to like say out loud, you know. And this is something I've experienced ever since I came to Gibbs, Standard 5, and my whole academic career until the end of, actually not my whole, but until the end of Form 3. If you're a smart kid, or if you are a top student in your class, the teacher will make you that pet. Whether you like it or not, you are teacher's pet. And like, I used to hate that thing, because man, I just want to play, like, let me play. But yeah, so she always used to be on my case. Like, she'd come to my class and just be always like, it's all our bala, like, and I'm like, oh my goodness, right? And so I just always get this attention from her, and obviously as a student I'd just be like, oh god, this woman, she's doing a lot, and I used to not like it, but I started to appreciate that it came from a good place. But obviously, like, you know, when you get remarks from other students, like now they started calling me her fave and stuff, and so and to make things worse, when I was in Form 3, my father was part of my school's PTA, and he was the secretary, I think. Yeah, he was the secretary in the PTA committee. So whenever there'd be events at school, whether it's a parents teachers meeting with students, whether it's like a prize giving, whatever, he would be there. My father would be there. And guess what, this lady should, at the end of the whole program, should be saying, would like to call upon Mr. Makashila to come and give us a vote of thanks. I would want to evaporate, because why? And I remember my father would go there and he would give a vote of thanks, and now even my friends started calling me vote of thanks. This is actually a memory I'd forgotten about, but yeah, they started calling me vote of thanks. So basically I was just getting this attention from her all the time, and worse now, because now she knew my father, and even the principal like knew my father, whatever. So it would be like kiss her all the time. And then I remember one time she got into class. I think she found us making noise in the morning. We used to have morning study at 6:30 a.m. Crazy, right? And she came into class, she found us making noise, and then she asked for a list of noisemakers, and I was on that list, and she was beating us. And when she was time to call my name and to beat me, guys, she went on speech. Oh, Mudim. She was saying, you are playing with your potential. So, you know, you could do so much. You know, you are capable of getting a merit. At this time, I don't even know what a merit is. At this time, and she's like, you know, you could go to Marwapula. At this time, I'm like, Panaga, why are you putting so much pressure on me, right? And I didn't even know like what she means. She was like, you know, you could get a scholarship, and so I was like, okay. And like, even for assembly, maybe we'd be at assembly, and and she'd say, I'd like to call upon Kesero to give us some motivation. Oh, you can imagine, guys, motivation from a student who doesn't even study. Like, but in Form 3 it got better. Like, I think the studying wasn't, I've never been a consistent studier, like student. I've never like had a routine or whatever, but sometimes I'd forget stuff, so I would do it. Oh, let me tell you another thing. In Form 3, my principal had this thing where he knew that like students don't utilize study time to study. So he did a thing where Form 3s, everyone had a book, and then you study something, and every day you do a mind map of what you studied, and then all the Form 3 books, I mean all of them, all 6 classes, they're submitted to his office, and he stamps them and he signs on them and brings them back in the morning. So I think the mind maps helped me also remember stuff, which is very like, what? Because I never used to take it seriously, and also I never used to study for those mind maps. I'd sit down and I think everyone used to do this. The last 10 minutes of study, everyone is sitting down wondering, what can I mind map today? And we're paging through the notebook and writing the mind map. But those things worked. They worked because I remember sometimes, when you're in the exam room and you're just remembering that page in the notebook where you wrote this and this and that. I literally remember what I wrote in that mind map. So they helped me. So when I'm saying I didn't study, I don't mean at all I never touched my books. I would, sometimes I would. Sometimes I'll do it last minute, in the morning before the exam. Sometimes I'll just go through my homeworks and be like, okay. I was that student who left everything till the last minute. And so whenever I'm doing the studying, it's always panic mode. It's always, okay, I have 10 chapters to finish, and I have 3 hours before I have to go and sleep. What can I do? Yeah, so that was always me. That has always been me. I think even now, which is a trait that I hate. But yeah, but basically the reason why I told the story about my HOD is that I had someone who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, when I didn't even know the extent to which I could go. And I think it is important to have someone who believes in you, because had it not been for her planting those ideas in my head, I wouldn't have ever thought that I could do it, So I remember I wrote my mocks and I failed. Fail in my world, guys. Everyone has a standard to which they feel like they failed, and I had failed, and by this I mean I didn't even get a C for Motswana, I got a D. And so obviously my points are not even 53 anymore, they're lower than that. I was devastated also because I think there was a month left till finals. But one thing I used to do? I used to pray to God and say, God, give me peace. I don't understand. And I think also because, let me give you a little bit of background. At home, there was stuff going on. Nothing too deep, guys, but I'm not gonna talk about it here. It was kind of a rough pitch. And I am regardless of how much our parents will try to shield us, as firstborns we are very much aware. So I was aware of the situation, and I just asked God to give me peace, right? And he gave me peace in that situation at home, but also even with my schoolwork. So even when I'm crying because I can do better, but I'm not beating myself up. I remember this day when I cried. I wrote in my book, and this is something that I wasn't deep in. I was just writing, guys. I literally was just writing. And then what happened is that, actually this video is gonna be too long. What happened is that I moved on with my life. I wrote my exams. I prayed before my exams. If I remembered, but most times I did remember. So I prayed before my exam, write my exam, go on about my day. And my aim was never good. What I wrote and what was in my head were contradictory to each other. In my head, I was aiming to get an A. I was happy if I got an A. I would be content if I got an A, because I didn't ever gotten an A when I was still in school. I had always gotten 53 points, which was a B. So in my head, I was like, I just need to improve with 2 points and get my A and be happy. So, but you know what? God listens, guys. God answers prayers. And the reason why I'm saying this is, if ever I was to take responsibility for my academic performance, then I would be doing you guys an injustice, and I'll be doing myself an injustice, because all of it was God. And I'm saying this because he opened doors that I didn't even know existed. My mother, when I was in form 5, she called me. She's like, so she was doing general cleaning. She called me and she was like, I just picked up a paper and no. She said, I'm coming to your school, meet me at the gate. I'm like, okay. Because at the time it was COVID, so we used to not be allowed to go out. I meet her at the gate and this is what she gives me. she gives me this paper, and when I tell you that, and also because I was going through a lot in Form 5 and I had also been struggling, when I read this thing, I cried, okay? I cried, and I think it was the reminder that I needed that God has a plan. And that is exactly what I wrote at the top. God has a plan. When did I write? So she was doing gentle cleaning and she was just going through my books, paging, and she came across this paper. She tore it and she laminated it and she gave it to me, and ever since then I have it in my file, and I read it once in a while to remind myself. And this is why I always say it is important to write down your plans and dedicate them to God. I was just a kid who had parents who were always supportive and someone who believed in her and who had put her trust and faith in God. I don't know if I'm gonna read all of this, but I think I'll read the important parts, guys. I wrote, God has a plan. And then I said, when you fall, pick yourself up and continue until the end. And then I said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And then I just wrote a prayer. It reads, and I'm going to read it for you guys. And if this video is too long for you, I'm sorry. But I just had to share. It reads, Dear God, thank you for the privilege of prayer, for with prayer I can talk to you. Jesus, I am disappointed in myself. And I know I wrote this crying because I was disappointed. I was like, I know I can do better. And then I said, I want to get a scholarship to do Form 4 and Form 5 in Motswana. Mind you, at this time, I didn't even know the process. I didn't know if there was an application process. I didn't know nothing. I just knew that I wanted to go to MAP. And then I said, I want to get a merit award for my junior certificate examinations, which is JCE. Guys, merit. I said that because I had heard that HOD talk about it. And I just knew what it meant. 53 points. 63 points. And I've always been getting 53 points. So in my head, I was wondering, where are the 10 points going to come from? Because I just didn't think I was capable of doing that, right? So I said merit award with all 9 A's, which I didn't get all 9 A's, but I wrote that down, right? And then I said, I know that it is possible. Thank you, Jesus, for instilling in me a desire to learn. Hunger and thirst to be the best has awakened in me. I know that through Christ who strengthens me, I can do it. Faithful Father, please grant me this request so that people can know that a God lives in heaven who can open doors for you as you will have done for me, Lord. This is a matter I have presented before you, and I know that you will do accordingly. For I pray in the most powerful name in the world, the name of Jesus. Amen. I wrote that, right? And then next page, I said, I'm not a failure, I'm a victor. And then I said, and I got 47 points for my mock exams. 47 from a normal 53 to a 47, so I dropped down. Yeah, and actually I wrote Kesoko Makashila. I got a PSLE grade of an A. I got a depressing 47 points for my mock exams. But here's something about this Kesoko. She doesn't want her PSLE grade to be her JCE grade. My only aim is a merit. But in my head, that just was not true. I was just writing that with faith, like, God, hear me out. And then I said, I want to get a position in the top 10 achievers in Motswana. That's another thing that I wasn't really serious about. I didn't deep it. I had heard from that HOD that, you know, there's a top achievers program, top 10, you can be in the top 10 in Motswana, you know. And I was just like, girl, do you know how many students are in this country? But I wrote it down regardless. And then I said, I want to be an example and a motivation to my sisters. I am not going to let my mock grades discourage me. I will get a 63 points for my JC. I am a star. I will always shine bright. I am going to go to Motswana for my Form 4, 5, and 6. Amen. And I left it at that. And I understand why my mother eliminated this, because whoa, I read this and I was like, who was that girl? Because damn. But yeah, those are the things I wrote down. 2019 came. It was, I don't remember the specific day. I had been waiting for results for a long time, and I was procrastinating going to my grandma's house in Francistown because I was like, imagine if results come out when I'm that side, I want them to come out when I'm here. I remember even jokingly, I said, one of my mom's friends came and she asked me, meaning like, where do you want to go to school? And I said, Marapula. And I laughed because, like, to me, I was crazy. And then I went to Francistown. When I arrived, my friend Stimbiso texted me. She's like, she tells me her grades. And I'm like, how do you know that? And then she's like, the results are out. I'm like, Stimbiso, don't joke like that. Because also, I think a few days ago, she had joked like that again. I'm like, no, don't joke like that. It's not funny. She's like, no, for real, results are out. And then I call my mother. And then my mom calls me. So I heard that results are out, and my grandma doesn't have Wi-Fi. So I was like, how am I going to check this? And I'm like, oh, okay. And you know, there was like the SMS thing, but I didn't know how to do it. So my grandma was like, let's go to the shops to get some groceries, right? So we're going to the shop to get some groceries. My mom calls me. She's like, so how the results did you do? And she's panicking. And one day, if you know my mom is very panicky. Like, oh, so she's panicking and she's like, results did you do? Like, so results did you do? Check it. I'm like, yeah. She's like, check. And so she sends me airtime. I try to check and I'm like, I can't. And I really wanted to see them alone. I'm like, I can't do it. Let me give you my details and you'll check for me. So she's at home with her friends, like her teacher friends, and they're checking my results. And she gave them the phone. She's like, check, I cannot do this. And at the time, I'm with my grandmother at the shop where I was just buying stuff. I remember Nerliko Chopis, and I get a call again from my mother's number, right? And now my heart is beating because I'm wondering, like, oh, what did I get? And the lady, my mom's friend, she's like, guys, when she said that, I wanted to cry because I didn't understand. You know, I thought I had failed, and you know, I was shaking, and I said, Ma, and she said, what's that? Guys, I almost fell in that shop. My grandmother had to hold me. Imagine that, instead of me holding my grandmother, she's the one holding me. Because I almost collapsed. I almost fainted. I'm like, oh my god, is that true? She's like, yeah. And then she's like, she can't even breathe. My mother couldn't breathe. She was crying. And yes, I did get married. And you know, like, I was in awe of God. I went home and I prayed and I said, thank you, God. And my dad called me, and like, my dad is very like this confident guy who he just thinks like things should be like that. So when they happen, he's always just like, I knew it, right? So he called me, he's like, well done, my girl. And then now I have to go back to Gibbs. Mind you, I just arrived in Francistown same day. So then I stayed the next day. Then the third day I go back to Gibbs. When I get to Gibbs, that very same HOD lady, she calls my mom and she's like, I want Kesako to come with me to Yarana FM for an interview. I'm like, okay. So we go to Yarana FM and I have an interview. We're talking about resilience and grit. They were just asking me questions about my academic journey. And you know, at that time, the song that used to play in my head all the time, I don't know if you guys watched, I know I can't play it here because hey, it's copyright and stuff, but if you guys watched the movie Annie, right? The movie Annie, there was this song called Opportunity. Yeah, actually, let me just do this. Sorry, give me a second. Yeah, called Opportunity, and I used to play this song all the time. I used to sing this song all the time. Yeah, and I remember very well walking down the stairs from Yarana FM and walking to my mother's car and singing, "Now look at me and this opportunity." And I was like, wow, man, God is amazing. And then a few days later, I received a call from my mom. I received a call, "Khote, your child has been invited for an interview at Motswana." Then that's when I was like, nah, dog, like God actually does not play. He does not play. And I prepared for my interview. We prayed as a family. My parents, I think also my parents' prayers have always covered me. Like even when I failed to pray, my parents' prayers have always covered me. And so we prayed about it. I went for my interview. I came back home same day with an offer. They told me come to school in 2 days. They were giving us a day to prepare. Then the next day is school day because we were coming mid-Feb when people had already started with the curriculum. And you know, I remember going to MAP, walking into that boarding house and thinking to myself, who would have thought, you know? And I'm saying all this to say, guys, don't just write down what you want, present it to God and pray about it, and then do your best and let him do the rest. And whatever that he does, if you have done the best that you can, then you know that there's nothing else that you could have done. Like you're leaving it to him. And God is faithful. He is, and he will give you your heart's desires. And so that's how I did with my Form 3. Form 4 came. Form 4 was difficult as well because also we were behind. We caught up, yes, but I was also struggling still. I'd get A's and B's, sometimes C's, but never an A star. And like I knew that when I got to MAP is when I learned about the Top Achievers program by the government of Botswana, because this one was a MAP bursary. It was a bursary by the school Marapula itself. Actually, before I forget, I did actually end up being in the top 10 of the country for 2018 JCE. I was the fifth. I was the fifth, I think. Yeah, because there were 6 merits that year. I think I was the 5th one or the 4th one, somewhere there. And no, I was the 5th. And you know what? Wow. I remember we went to the rehearsal dinner. It wasn't a dinner, the rehearsal night before the awards. I was looking at that place, that hall, and I was like, God. And hush, man, I can't express enough how I'm telling the story so that you know, and so that you don't get it twisted. Just know that it was never me. It had nothing to do with Kore. I didn't do anything that put me there. I just trusted God. I did the best that I could, and he delivered. And I just give him all the honor, all the glory, all the praise, because it is because of him. I remember I used to pray, another prayer that I used to pray a lot was, you would do it for your name's sake. And one thing about God and his name, he does not play. So he would do it just for his name's sake. And I trusted him, and I'm like, I literally don't know what you have planned for me, but I know that it is good. And you have planted this desire in my heart, and if it was indeed planted by you, and then I'm sure that it is according to your will. And if it indeed is according to your will, then you shall make it happen for your name's sake, so that in the end people will glorify your name and say, indeed there is a God in heaven. And that was always my prayer, and that happened. And I did my Form 4. I remember my Form 5 mocks, and my Form 5 is when my mom gave me this, and I was like in tears, bawling my ass out. I was like, what? If I had a roommate in Form 5, her name is Mori, a very good friend of mine. She's also here in Australia. If you talk to Mori right now, she will tell you, Kisoro never used to study. don't understand how she did that. And this is again to say I didn't do it. It had nothing to do with me. Form 5 was the worst year of my life. I was literally in hell, and not just because of school, guys. Remember, it was COVID, it was everything. My emotions were all over the place. But I knelt down one day just before exams, and I had been failing, mind you. I had been failing, and Form 5 my relationship with God wasn't that great. But that's another thing that like I praise his name for and I glorify him for, because even when I'm not talking to him, he will deliver. Like, he's that gracious, he's that merciful, he's that loving. Anyway, I remember I prayed. I said, God, all or nothing. And remember, for my JC, I said I wanted all 9 A's. I didn't get all 9 A's. So I said, God, all or nothing. And I also wrote, I remember after my mom gave me this, I'm like, I'm gonna write it down. I wrote it down in one of my notebooks. I don't have them here. This one I didn't laminate, but I listed all my subjects, 9 of them. And I wrote at the top my aims, and I wrote A star, A star, A star for all of them. I was, imagine writing A star for subjects you have never gotten A star for. The subjects are getting C's and D's and sometimes A's for. And I wrote that. I was like, A star, A star, A star. And I was so unprepared for my exam. So unprepared. Like, the most unprepared I'd ever been in my life. And what was running through my head at that time was, I hate regret. That's one thing that I never want to live with, regret. I hate regret. And so I was like, I don't want to regret, but because I'm not prepared, I know I'm going to regret this. And then I remembered this piece of paper that I wrote. I'm like, I'm going to do it again. And you know what? God has done it before. He can do it again. And I told him, you have done it before. You can do it again. All or nothing. 9 A stars, or I don't want. That's what I said. I remember very well. Results day came. My dad decided to work from home. My mom conveniently came back home like 5 minutes after the results came out, because they knew results are coming out. So I didn't actually just have the privacy of being alone again this time, but I checked them alone and then I shared them with them. Guys, I refreshed that page. I closed my eyes. I said, God, please. And when I screamed, I was like, oh my God. I ran to my father. I'm like, Papa, I did it. And you know what? He was so happy for me. And like, my mother again, she cried. I remember my mother was crying so much that one of our neighbors, she came and she was comforting my mother, and me and my dad were just standing there, right? We're not doing anything, and she's the one comforting my mother. She's like, sorry. And I think she was so confused as to why my mom is crying, and we're just standing there looking at her. But then we told her, no, look, it's good news. She's crying. It's tears of joy. Don't worry. It's not that deep. But yeah, so my academic journey, I think that's the word. I attribute it all to God. That is why when people ask me how to study, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to say to you everything that people keep telling you. Do your assignments. Ask for help from teachers when you need help. One thing about me, I always ask for help. Ask for help. Even from your friends. Don't have friends just for playing. Have friends who will help you. Ask. I used to also rewrite stuff. When I look at my handwriting for this notebook that I've been writing notes in for 6 months, and I'll be like, I hate my handwriting in this. I will start rewriting those notes again. And I'm not saying do that. That's a waste of time. But the rewriting really helped me. So maybe you can do it, but topic by topic. Say like you read the notes and then maybe rewrite what you remember. Something. Just so for tips, I'm not the person for you. All I'm going to say to you is pray and do your best. And let God do the rest, truly. But it came with a lot of sacrifices. I'm not even going to lie to you. You have to sacrifice a lot, because especially me, who I'm a procrastinator, so I leave things till the last minute. So in that last week when now people are saying let's do this, let's do that, then I have to sacrifice and be like, no guys, I haven't been studying, I haven't been doing work, so I have to do something. And surround yourself with people who want you to do well, people who believe in you. For me, it's always been that. That's what kept me going. Even the friends that I had around me, the people who believed I could do it, and I did it. And all I can say is it was God. And that is the story of my academic journey. A-levels was a bit different. A-levels were very difficult for me, and not just the school itself. It was complicated. I didn't do as well as I wanted. I didn't do as well as I wanted, but here I am at university. I made it still, and I can also still attribute all of that to God and say, wow, he did it, and it's always been him. And right now in my university, I'm struggling to trust him, which is so weird because I've always trusted him with my schoolwork. So where is this coming from? But that's something that I'm working on, and that's something that I trust that he will help me through. I just wanted to say, and if I hope the story of mine motivates someone or inspires someone, and if it doesn't, it's okay, but I was moved to share and I did that, and I hope you enjoy. If you made it this far, thank you very much for listening. I love you and I believe in you, and you can do it. Don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Share this video with whoever you think may need to hear it, your friends, your family. And I was doing this because I know some people are waiting for their results right now. Exam season just ended for some at university are going into exam season. Some of us have received some people have received results already. Basically right now it's a lot of academic wara. So I'm hoping this encourages someone to trust in God, and yeah, thank you guys. Bye.